Hey there, Jim from Ludus Games here. I'm bringing you another deck tech. And today's general will be Brago, King Eternal. He's 1 blue, 1 white, and 2 colorless for legendary creature spirit. 2/4 flying. When Brago the Eternal deals combat damage to a player, exile any number of target non-land permanents you control, then return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. He is the ultimate control deck, in my opinion, because he's got access to blue and white. But because you can blink your entire board state, you can just do some crazy shenanigans. So I really enjoy him. Other players, he can really slow a game down. If you're playing one-on-one, it becomes really taxing for the other player when you're bouncing their permanents and whatnot. Brago does suffer from playing a lot of ETB effects, and if players can shut that down, you'll have a harder time to win. But nonetheless, he's good early 1v1. He's also really good mid to late game in multiplayer. He's not going to win quickly for you like in a multiplayer game, but in the long run, in the long game, he's definitely winning general. So I'll take you through my Brago deck. I have a lot of fun with him. I enjoy him, and I like to bring him out often. Although others in my play group would argue that I not play him, but I do enjoy him. So let's go through the deck. I have 33 lands. I usually am around 36. I went with 32 just because I have a lot of mana rocks. And my curve is not that high. I have, I think, 110 drop, and the rest of it's pretty low. I think I have 6 islands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 islands. 6 plains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4 fetches. 1, 2, 3, 4. I run a Mistville Plains. This comes into play tap, but you can recycle cards from your graveyard, and I like it for that. For that reason, that's why it's one of the ones you can easily change in this deck. Here, the dual lands that give you both colors: Prairie Stream, Azorius Chancery, Mystic Gate, Port Town, Glacial Fortress, Celestial Colonnade, Seacrum Coast Command Tower, Tundra, Hallowed Fountain, Temple of Enlightenment. And to round it off, the colorless non-basics, we have Myriad Landscape, Academy Ruins, Reliquary Tower, Thespian Stage, and Ancient Tomb. So those are the lands. Pretty straightforward. Again, you can adjust those any way you like. Here are my mana rocks. Thought Vessel, and it's important. I have a tower, Reliquary Tower, and Thought Vessel because you can draw a lot of cards with this deck, and you want to be able to protect your hand size. So Thought Vessel, Gilded Lotus, Mox Diamond, Grim Monolith, Mana Vault, Lotus Petal, Soul Ring, Azorius Signet, Sculpting Steel, and Copy Artifact. I know what you're saying. These are not really mana rocks, but I count them as mana rocks in my deck because 95% of the time I would say they are copying mana rocks. Yes, you have the reach of making them other artifacts, but they are most of the time, whether it be mine or an opponent's, they're going to be artifacts. They also allow you to run couple fewer lands because of the fact that you can just put them out as mana rocks. Here are my other artifacts that I run in the deck. I have a Scroll Rack. This is new and I can't say it. Panharmonicon. I hope I got that right. Basically, it triggers your ETB effects twice. Ichor Wellspring draws you a card. Prophetic Prism draws you a card. Fix your mana, but I never use it for that. It's there to draw a card. Spine of Isha destroys any permanent, and when you blink it with Krenko, it's crazy. Lightning Greaves, for obvious reasons, and Strionic Resonator. This card will win you the game if you have a mana rock, Brago's ability on the stack, and this. So let's say, let's say you have that in play. And where's my soul ring? Soul ring, where are you? Oh, that's over here in this pile. So you have your soul ring. You have your soul ring. You have Brago's. Assuming you've attacked, made combat damage to a player, you have his ability on the stack. You're gonna tap soul ring, tap the resonator to copy his ability. You're gonna blink. There's 2 copies in the stack. You're gonna blink this, and before the other one goes off, you're gonna copy it again. And you're blinking this the whole time. It's kind of like an infinite combo. And basically you can destroy all permanents with the spine on the stack. So that's one way to win. So Strionic Resonator is really important in this package. I run 2 Planeswalkers, Karn and Jace. They're both, this card draw. Another thing that people forget that I like to do with Jace. Most people use him for his Brainstorm ability, and then defer to Fate Sealing. If I get him early enough, there's no board state where there's no creatures, so I go, land, mana rock, turn 1, and turn 2, another land, Jace. I'll start face sealing right away, trying to keep my opponent off of any relevant permanents. And now that it's a race, you're going up 2. If you get to 12, you can pretty much end the game for an opponent. So if you get him out early enough, just start upticking him. And Karn for control. I'll go over my counters. I don't run a heck of a lot, 5 of them. Arcane Denial, Pact of Negation. This is the Italian version, so I don't know. Oh my god. I forget the name of this card. Anyways, it's a counterspell. Counterspell and Force of Will. Those are my counters for the deck. Mana Drain. What a brain fart I had there. Anyways, those are my counter spells for the deck. My other interactive spells, first couple are card draws, I think. Brainstorm, Ponder, Preordain, and Serum Visions. These are, again, you want to be proactive early on if you're going to run a competitive deck, and these are all cards on turn 1 that you can play. Time Warp, there's an infinite loop with Time Warp and Brago you can do. I'll show you that in a bit. Enlightened Tutors, here's some of our tutors. Fabricate, long-term plans. Then you have Supreme Verdict as the lone sweeper in the deck. Capsize, because there's ways to go infinite mana. Not many, I think there's one way. Then you could just bounce all permanents. Cyclonic Rift, and then 2 creature removers and swords and Path to Exile. Those are my interactive spells. I'll go through my enchantments. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 enchantments. These are all ETB enchantments, so they have enter the battlefield effects. Grasp of Fate, because it allows me to take a permanent off of each opponent, and I can reset it with Brago. All of these you can reset with Brago. That's why they're mainly in here. Detention Sphere, because it's better than what's the one white and 2 colorless. Oblivion Ring. Oh, geez, I'm having a rough night tonight. It's better than Oblivion Ring because if you're playing a token deck, you just can get rid of all their tokens in one shot. Face Fetters, because you can gain 4 life a turn. Treachery, because who doesn't like to grab a creature and untap lands. This is a good one on Brago because it gives him pro creatures and also draws a card when it comes into play. So when his ability goes in the stack, you can blink this and bring Brago. They come in, you can put it back on Brago and draw a card. Reality Acid is really good because when you blink this on and off targets with Brago, they have to sacrifice them. Light Form, there's a blue form, I forget what it's called, that does the similar thing. I don't think you need both of them. One is enough. Basically, this manifests the top card of your deck, but because you can blink it with Brago, you blink this and the manifested card. When the manifested card comes back, it comes back as what it is and not a manifestation when you blink it with Brago's ability. And then if you have the Strionic Resonator, you can pretty much do your whole deck. So that's why that's in there. And then Active Authority is exiling artifacts or enchantments. And again, you can re-blink this. The cool thing about this is at the beginning of your upkeep, you can do it again. So when I cast it, exile artifact or enchantment, then do it again at my upkeep. But if I do it, I have to give this to my opponent and they can target something of mine. So I just usually wait to leave it for Brago to blink. If I have to in a pinch, I can remove 2 artifacts or enchantments with that. We'll talk about my non-ETB creatures. There's only 4 of them, and you'll see why they're in here. Consecrated Sphinx for card draw. Now, who doesn't like that? Glen Eldra Archmage. She's awesome because you can play her with confidence and just counter, and if Brago's active, you can reset her every turn, which is cool. So she's got Persist. You sacrifice, pay 1 blue, sacrifice her, counter target non-creature spell. So, you know, counter spells and any other interactive spells, you know, it's hard to get. They got to play around her to cast them. Virtually, they have to cast 2 or 3 spells. In saying that, you can counter 1 with certainty as the turn goes around, knowing that you can reset her with Brago if you have Brago active. Deadeye Navigator, because who doesn't like to blink in all these ETB effect creatures that we have constantly over and over again. And Kozilek, Butcher of Truth, because you've seen him in all my videos. He's there for card draw, for mill protection, shuffling my graveyard, and who doesn't like Annihilated 4, right? Anyway, those are my non-ETB creatures. And to round out the deck, we have all these ETB creatures. Now this is, again, like, what is it, Torpor Orb? Is it Torpor Orb that shuts off creature ETB effects? Those cards are problematic, but there are artifact enchantment removal cards in here that are not creature based. So you do have ways to get around it, and you have ways to tutor for them too. So that's in there, but certainly that is a downside to the deck when you shut down ETB effects. So let's go over them. A Muldrifter, draw 2 cards. Recruiter of the Guard, because who doesn't like to tutor up any one of these cards? Duplicant to exile, Wall of Omens to draw cards, Vidilian Click to look at your opponent's hand and tuck one of their cards, or if you don't like a card in your hand, you can target yourself, tuck it, and actually put it at the bottom of the deck and draw a card. Archaeomancer, now this is the card that with Brago you can go infinite turns. So basically you play the extra turn card, you play Archaeomancer, bringing it back, you attack with Brago, take your extra turn, play the extra turn, again blinking this back, bringing the spell, it's Time Warp, back to your hand, so you loop that every turn. You know, and if you've caught your opponents with their mana tapped, you know, it's pretty much game at that point. Sky Knight here to detain any non-land permanent over and over. Meddling Mage, because, hey, who doesn't like to shut down generals like Animar, right? You know, Animar comes out like at turn 3 and then just by turn 4 just goes blah and wins the game. Well, on turn 2, you're going Meddling Mage, Animar, you're not casting him. And you can blink it with Brago to reset to another general if that general is now giving you problems. Cloud Blazer, because, you know, gain life and draw 2 cards. Peregrine Drake to untap 5 lands. It is infinite mana with Deadeye. So if you have Deadeye in this and Capsize, you can pretty much clear the board. Solemn, because, you know, mana ramp, who doesn't like it? Angel of Serenity. I mean, I have Duplicant in here. There's the Phyrexian Ingester that exiles creatures. I only went with Duplicant and Angel because Duplicant I can recur with my land that recurs artifacts. I forget what it's called. And the Serenity, Angel Serenity, targets 3 creatures at a time. You can also target creatures that are in my yard. So when I blink them, I can put them back in my hand. So if I chump with Solemn to draw a card, he's in the yard, I can target with Angel. When I blink her, he'll come back to my hand. So she's really good. And she clears off 3 permanents. And it can be like 1 off of you, 1 off of you, or, 3 off of this opponent, and then blink it back and do 3 off of the other opponent. Remembering, the opponent doesn't get rid of the creatures. It puts them back in the opponent's hand when this leaves play, which is fine. You're still time walking the opponent. You're still making them recast the spells and taking up their mana again and getting Summoning Sickness, and you can redo it over and over again. Some clones: Phyrexian Metamorph, Sakashima, and Clever Impersonator. Those are all great clones. Clever Impersonator especially because it can copy anything virtually on the battlefield. Venser and Riftwing are bounce any permanent. This is also kind of a counter spell as well for most of you that know Venser and have played Venser. But I use this to bounce permanents. So if I get early game, I get Brago. Let's say Island, Soul Ring, turn 1, turn 2, Plains, tap my mana, play Brago. And then by turn 2, then by turn 3, I play another Island and I Venser. I'll bounce your land because you might not have anything. And then attack with Brago, blink this again, bounce your other land. Now you're down 2 lands. And I'm bouncing 1 permanent at a turn. You won't be able to catch up at that point. These 2 are the ones that I like to search and have, if I can search for them or if I draw into them. I like to get these off online really quick because I'm bouncing permanents and blinking and bouncing. Especially if I have Riftwing and like this in play, right? They come in, they see each other. Oh, we got 3 Riftwings now. They all come into play. They see each other. This will come and copy this. This will come and copy of this. 3 bounce triggers on the stack. I'll bounce 3 permanents. Usually land or anything problematic. So, I mean, that's essentially how Brago can win early on. Get him into play. Get one of Venser into play early and just start bouncing 2 things a turn. Anyways, that's my Brago deck. I hope you enjoyed that. Obviously, you could do a lot of different things with Brago, but Brago's a general. If you like ETB effects, if you like playing with ETB effects, he's your guy. Because there's tons of it. I mean, there's a lot of things I didn't include in color. Like, you can, what's that artifact, a creature that puts in 4 mirror tokens, mirror battle sphere. You can just generate tons of tokens like that. There's all kinds of ETB creatures you can put in that are either colorless, white, or blue. I chose to go with these. I found that these give me the biggest range. Your 100 card deck. At first, when you first build an EDH deck, 100 cards seems like a mountain to climb. You're like, oh my God, how am I going to fit 100 singleton cards in here? But by the time you get into decent deck building, you struggle to find room for cards. And really, at the end of the day, when you're playing your deck, you need to play it and see what synergizes, and you have to cut down and balance on stuff. If you just put in like every clone imaginable, right? You can put in 100 clones. You could easily put in a good 10 clones in the deck. But is that going to win you any games? You're relying on your opponents putting creatures into play that you can clone and then have them not attack you for a couple turns before you can do things. So, for me, I went down to 3. One that I can reset on my own, one that can copy artifacts and be a mana rock if I need it, and one that can copy planeswalkers. So that's kind of what I did there. You don't want to overload and overburden yourself with things. Again, You can put in a bunch of creatures that exile creatures, but I put in 2. I find that synergizes the best. Because this one I can recur from my yard, and this one helps me to recur from my yard. You know, never 2 or 3 of any one type of effect, I think would be a good general rule with Brago, if you're building him. You know, certainly these clones give you the reach of going, okay, I need an extra bounce effect, or I need an extra exile effect, so you can copy those things, right? They give you that reach, but again, you should never have more than 3, you know, maximum 4, I would say. Land draw, drawing cards, shutting down permanents, recurring spells, you know, tucking cards, looking at opponent's hands, drawing cards, tutoring, drawing cards. Again, you know, these are all, you know, pretty effective, and if you get this ball rolling, it's hard to beat. You know, you have your interactive spells to get you there. You know, that's it. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I know I went a little long on this one and you know, talked a little too much, but you know, that's Brago for you. So go ahead and build them. Leave some comments below if you've changed a build, or if you have other builds. You know, share. Certainly, this is where I've landed, where I enjoy playing Brago. I'll probably do some tweaks here or there, especially as new sets come out. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll bring you some more deck techs in the near future. It's Jim from Ludus Games. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.